It's
Woo, yay.
another day of NFA Money Talks. So excited to have everyone here. And I'm with one of my besties today who has helped me so much in my love life and is a powerful businesswoman. I actually met her at a networking event, man, 3 years ago, maybe 4 at this
It
point.
kind of feels like 4.
Yeah, wild. That's wild. So very cool. So I just have to tell the backstory of when I met Macy, because for all of you watching, what we're going to talk about today is building a six-figure business, what that looks like over time. We're going to give you tips there. And we're also going to talk about love, because those two are so integrated. I've talked before about having the money block, where you are afraid that you can't have a powerful business and be in a great relationship at the same time. And Macy really helped me break through that block and help me own my business power and translate it into relationship power, which is very cool. And, as all of you know, if you're watching my YouTube channel and following it, you see that I added an NFA love playlist recently. And I talk about Macy in there because she was a huge part of me. In that manifestation strategy, you get clear about what you want, you take steps in the direction of your dreams, and then you trust the universe to take care of the hows. Macy is one of those hows for me, because I ran into her at a networking event and I just was in awe of the way that she did this really powerful meditation. And she was always in the back of my mind. I thought, wow, that's some powerful work. And so when I had some serious, significant relationship fallout, she was the first person in my mind of, I got to meet with Macy. And so that's where she is coming from today. And her and I've become dear, dear friends, and we jam out all the time about money and love and how to grow our businesses in ways that make bigger impact and as much money as we love to make, because we love the freedom aspect of it. So welcome, Macy. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here too. So many
Yes,
things are
I
popping
know.
already.
I know, right? It's so fun to get to hang out with you. I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready and doing my morning routine, I was thinking, like, how cool is it that I have a business where I just get to like hang out with my besties and jam out with other entrepreneurs and share tips and strategies, and it just feels like play all the time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just got chills. Because that is true, isn't it? I was thinking about that this morning, that, there are times in business or in relationship stuff where it's easy to feel like defeated, or why isn't this working, or those kinds of moments. And this morning I was aware of how we get to do this, and we get to date, we get to create, we get to do these things. And if, I have noticed that sometimes I get into like, oh, I have to do my work, and but that's not really true. That's what I used to do as a habit in corporate world. And I notice people do that with dating. It's like, oh, it's like, dating is bad, yucky, or this or that. And but we get to create, we get to date, and it's a really fun thing if we have the mindset and the tools and the space to receive it that way.
Yeah, we get to. I mean, right there is such a powerful mindset switch from we have to work to we get to play.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think people look at love and money in very similar ways, like, and building business and love in the same ways, where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I should know what I'm doing. I am supposed to be doing things in this direction if that's what I want. And I'm not really sure why I'm a mess or a wreck at doing it.
Yeah. Or just like modeling after these things that, okay, this is the way it's supposed to look, and
Yeah.
then feeling bad about it. One thing that I was so grateful for receiving from you in our conversations and coaching for my business was that really leveraging what is fun and leveraging what is working. And I saw that with you too. It was like remembering you had all these amazing skills with your business and following the energy and setting up smart plans that align with you. And it's no different. So, when you were talking in the introduction, I was aware of how much we can leverage what is already working. And then it's not really starting from zero. It's like, okay, what can we create with what's just naturally already here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in that piece of what you focus on expands. So thinking about leveraging, I like what you're saying, because what it's made me think of is when you leverage something that's already working, it's like I didn't come to you in a state of like, I don't know anything. It was, what do I know? How can I leverage it? And how can I shift my perspective about it in order to change my relationship reality, which is exactly what I do with business owners.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, you looked at me and you could see like what naturally my business personality was and help me, really match up with that. And I think, with relationships, a lot of people kind of forget that they're not relating in the world. It's not starting from zero, I guess is the way to say it. And
Yeah.
giving ourselves a little bit of acknowledgement for even making a choice to grow or learn more or expand into what obviously is inspired within us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be out there looking for new ways.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I want to ask you this because I think it's a really fun question for us to guide some of our conversation. If you could go back and tell yourself what would make you successful faster in your business, and share, a little bit of your backstory. How did you come into your business? And then if you could go back and tell yourself in that startup year, what would get you to six figures faster? What would 3 tips be that you can bring to the audience?
I think one of the biggest ones was really being able to trust my core inspiration. I definitely know that some of the time it took for me to grow my business to where it is was derailed a little bit by, oh, I need to do this because that person is doing it this way, and kind of forcing myself into boxes that weren't really what I liked. And
Mm-hmm. So when you say trust your core inspiration, you're talking specifically about not necessarily listening to everyone else's advice about how to do it, but it was trusting that you knew where you wanted to go in your
well,
business.
trusting the parts that were me and not denying, like, I had a couple things that just really right out the gate just didn't feel right and or fun at all. And I mean, that's also kind of a gray area thing because when you're doing a new thing, a lot of things feel uncomfortable. So it's not
Yeah.
uncomfortable, it's just where it didn't really match who I was. And so sometimes I know I changed my language a lot because I thought, oh, okay, um, you have to talk in this way, and that's what other love coaches do to talk about this topic. And I was getting bored. So I was
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, if I am not actually, my initial inspiration actually was play into love. That was the initial seed of my business. And that took a wayside for years, actually. I mean, every once in a while I would say that, but just even in this year, starting this year, I realized that actually is my DNA for
Love
this
this.
business.
Thinking about your business DNA. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
So you guys, so it was like after exploration and taking, I'm sure a lot of twists and turns in the building process, you realized to get back to the core, it's play into love. And
Yeah.
that's really the essence of what you bring to the table.
Yes.
I love that, play into love.
I mean,
Great.
even if everything is filtered through that, I mean, obviously, with the dating and making any kind of change, I mean, I'm not saying it's never going to be uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. It's a sensation of evolving into greater, and that can be uncomfortable. This play into love is really an honoring of yourself and actually being able to be in love now and not thinking, okay, things will be better when. And so that was a big thing around the messaging, is to just, and I'm still like constantly working with that and wanting my voice to feel like me.
Yeah, I think that's so fascinating, because I think about when I was working with you and doing my dating profile and starting to do match and go on dates. That was such a key primary part of why it happened so powerfully for me. I believe, it was like, okay, how much fun can we have online dating? Because I think most people look at it as this drudgerous thing. And for me, I was like, I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to hang out. And, it happened really fast. So I actually didn't meet that many people, but it was,
you didn't.
I had so much fun. And I think, that essence, and, so this overlap here for all business owners, whatever business it is that you own, the overlap that has made Macy successful and me successful is because we play in our businesses, and we're not perfect. And we're not saying like, oh, the day we started, we've had nonstop play the whole time. Some of that's a learned behavior to train yourself to realize, when I play, I'm more attractive, and it's be, do, have. It's not have, do, be. So it's not like, oh, once I get an amazing person to want to date me, then I'll be happy. It's, I've got to be the amazing person and have someone date me. Same thing in your business. I've got to be a happy, powerful, fulfilled, playful business owner, and then my business feels like play. Right? So we do it backwards. So I think it's such a powerful tip. Trust my core inspiration. Okay. What's number 2?
Yeah, I think the next one that was really big was to get out of the, and it's kind of similar in some ways, but I was constantly feeling like there's a better way. I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. And the mindset in business is huge. Once I was able to just stop that, just not let that run in my world, my body was more relaxed. Once again, it comes back to really the joy of business and not the, pressure and judgment and attacking. And, just an extra piece to that is, whenever I would find myself in struggle or pain, and if I had done this sooner, maybe it would have grown faster, but whatever, like I asked, where is my client feeling that way? Even though I'm feeling it with my business, I know that as the empathic being that I am, that everything is relationship. Everything is like the universe is constantly giving me whispers and inspirations. And so that was a really powerful discoveries when I was like, okay, when I'm feeling some kind of funk, I just ask, where is this happening in the community of people that I am here to serve? And usually it's not hard to find, especially, oh, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Online dating. Oh, no one likes me. I'm doing it wrong. What's happening? Why are these, like all of that kind of stuff comes up.
Yeah.
So, stopping that I'm doing it wrong was a big one.
Oh, that's big. Yeah, I wrote it I stop second guessing, but it's like thinking you're doing it wrong is big in there. And this is imposter syndrome for business owners, right? So it's like in your business building, you're second guessing and thinking, where am I doing it wrong? And then you see that it's a reflection of your clients, where that's like they're questioning, am I doing it wrong? This is, to me, it's one of the biggest mindset traps for all people. It's like negative self-comparison and questioning, am I enough? Can I have this happen? You second guessing. Yeah. That's big. Okay. What would you say third?
Okay. The third one is something that has come in the last couple years, is really following the energy and letting myself offer multiple things. Like I used to think that I needed to have, this is the program, this is where you start, this is how you move through it. And I get how that's really helpful, but also I know myself enough to know, and this isn't going to be the case for every business owner, but if something is popping, then create it. Like, just create. And when I'm in that space of following my own inspirations and really being more in dialogue with them and dialogue with my business and like what it's telling me, like right now my business has been telling me to like chill out, like just to relax and give it some space. It's like my business is like, can I have a little alone time for a second? And so it's not asking me to create a whole flurry of stuff. Do I see some stuff coming soon? Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like being able to give it some breath and some space. And
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I often say you need to slow down to speed up. And it's that same idea, right? Like and what I hear you saying is that you're trusting that instead of fighting against it. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs will fight that feeling of I should always be productive. Otherwise, everything's going to fall apart or what will happen, who knows? So you've learned to trust the energy and the inspiration and know that the inspiration and energy will come after you've taken a little bit of downtime to then go into your, fun creation mode.
yeah, exactly. And that has been true every time. And
Yeah, I love
so,
this. I experience that so much too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one.
it is hard because it's stopping the hustle. That's what I would probably call it in short, like
Yeah,
stopping
yeah,
the recreational hustle just to like prove that this is
yes.
working and or whatever it is. I mean, I
I love
we just
that.
are in a society that does that. And
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
been hard though for me. I won't lie. Like
yeah. Oh, me too.
I still have to be like kind to myself when it comes to that. And I would say with dating too, people who get to the dating phase with me and SuperLOVED will, be putting a profile up or going online or whatever other things, because I never want to say that that's the only way, because obviously there's infinite ways, but that there are rhythms to it. You'll meet a bunch of people, but my advice is to stay open, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, is letting my body rest a little more but staying open to what is like whispering.
I felt that viscerally when you said that stay open. I took a deep breath in and I'm thinking, when you said this is something that you've been working on and it's been hard, I think I can't think of an entrepreneur that I know that hasn't had some place of that challenge. Where they go, okay, it's time to trust. Really what you're talking about is a lack of scarcity thinking, where it's like, I'm going to trust that when I slow down and I stay open to what's to come next, I'm going to trust that the results will be there. Even though I'm not taking action, I'm actually aligning my energy, which causes the results.
Yeah, which, when you say that too, the other thing that I'm aware of that, just being being an entrepreneur for the last 7 years now, what I notice is that for some people, it's going to be stop the hustle, or just, well, first of all, there's no one thing at one time. Like, it's listening. It's really listening and having that intimate relationship with your business.
Totally.
Listening to yourself. Same thing with dating. It's like listening to yourself. Some people are going to kind of require a little more grit to push forward,
Yeah.
if that's been hard. For
Yeah.
me, my default happens to be like push, hustle, create, and I can just go, and then I'm like face plant.
Yeah.
Some people, they're going to need a little more drive
Yeah.
inserted into it if you want something to develop.
Yeah, it's making me think of like a spectrum of hustling. It's like some people are on this end where they have a hard time taking action. We released today a post that was called "What's your entrepreneurial spirit animal?" And it's making me think it's like, you could be like a sloth, maybe. I don't know. Most entrepreneurs I don't think are sloths, but it's kind of that
No.
quality. Like I've got to get the momentum going and stay in action versus like a jaguar who's just going all the time. And it's an interesting thing to think about because I'm curious. Do you see this in relationships in the same way as building a business, like hustle versus?
Yes.
Okay. Say some. I'm curious. This is interesting.
Well, I mean, it's the difference between people who are like, oh, I do the vision board, I'm hoping and wishing, and like, oh, yeah, it'll just happen organically, and just sort of laying back and not actually really taking any steps to meet people. I mean, my favorite quote from myself is, if you want to meet people, you got to meet people. If you want to meet someone, you got to meet someone's. So, so there's that, and then other people who are out there like giving everyone a chance and haven't really gotten to the place of, wait a second, this is what I value, this is what matters to me, and I am going to continue to look online or put myself into situations and tell the universe, ask the universe out loud, I am so excited and I'm asking to meet someone who is funny and successful and available and emotionally well, and whatever the things are on your list, and be active in that way, not the blanket, I'm going to give everyone a chance, or not the sit on the couch, hope, wish, and wait.
Yeah. So it's balance, right?
Yeah. And,
yeah,
there are in the entrepreneurial world, and I would just say I've noticed in circles that I've been in that sometimes people wake up and realize I'm not an entrepreneur. Like I actually would do better in a job. So being willing to be honest with yourself, because if you aren't willing to be a creator, then it may not be.
That is an incredible question. I'm going to put it up here. Am I fit to be an entrepreneur? Like, and when I say fit, like, is it aligned? Right. So you're asking that question. I so agree with you. I think that people, this overlaps a lot on love and money. People want the outcome of a successful business. Are they willing to do what it takes to have a successful business? That's a whole different question, right? And I think it's the same thing with a relationship, like an incredible lifelong partnership where you feel like you're with someone who's your home base and you have connection and intimacy doesn't just drop in your lap, I don't think. It's something where you become the person who's able to do that, and then you attract it your way, and then you co-create that together. Same in your business, right? And so it's like asking yourself, am I really willing to do what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur? Am I really willing to do what it takes to have an incredible relationship?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when you're talking about that, I'm aware, I mean, you've introduced me to some crypto stuff. So I think that's a fun thing too. And I'm noticing it's very similar. If you're not willing to be in, and, you've got to have some courage and grit. Like you can't be reactive in that space.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship is that. There's going to be highs and lows and challenges. I had a complete system meltdown on Friday. I just was totally freaking out. And then I'm like, wait a second. I am the CEO of my company. What am I going to do to move forward? I can go into emotional trauma, or I can make a choice, make a decision for the next best step to move through this challenge.
Yes. Okay. I'm typing this in because this is so awesome. We've got to say this and talk about this more because you're so right. Okay. Am I willing to do what it takes to be blank? Right.
Yeah.
In an awesome relationship, to be a successful entrepreneur, to be a crypto investor, to be a powerful mom, like whatever it is, like, are you willing to do what it takes? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
good question, because sometimes I'll say, like, what's it going to take for me to have more ease with, this system meltdown or whatever? Or what's it going to take to find
Yes.
team members who are really fun to work with? Or what's it going to take to
Yes.
attract clients who are excited to transform their relationship space? And
That's so
it's
powerful.
not everybody. I mean, the things that we do as entrepreneurs, and I will say the things that are required in a healthy, lasting relationship, a lot of people aren't willing to do. And it does take skills and practice and presence. I
Yeah.
mean,
Totally. Oh yeah. I mean, I want to for the question I have for you is like, how many times in the business development process? You said you've been in business. You said, is it 7 years? Is that what you said?
yeah,
Okay. So in the last 7 years, how many times did you want to give up?
yeah, a million.
Right. And how many times did you not? And where are you today?
Right. I mean,
Like you're dedicated, you're
yeah,
committed. That doesn't mean that you don't have those days where you're like, oh my God, this is hard and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm
yeah,
scared. And what if it all falls apart and all the fears that like I have them too. Like I don't
yeah.
know a business owner who doesn't have those. The difference between the successful ones and the unsuccessful ones is that they ask themselves, am I willing to do what it takes to be for me now, my question is to be a 7-figure business owner. It used to be a
Yeah.
6-figure business owner. Now it's like, okay, am I willing to do what it takes? Am I a 7-figure business owner? Am I spending my time strategically to do the things that a 7-figure business owner does?
I love it. It's so true. It's like getting to like a 6-figure business is sort of like getting to, your third date. And
Yes.
then to actually establish the foundations for a conscious, loving, lasting relationship, dealing with conflict, dealing, with intimacy and communication, all those
Kids,
things.
businesses, like all of it, right? Like,
It's so different.
yeah. What you're making me think of is this pie in the sky ideal that's really infatuation, not love, both
Hmm.
in business and in relationships, where you think it's all going to be this one-sided awesomeness of amazing business building and relationship building. And it's like, no, the reality is business and relationships have two sides. There's ups, there's downs, there's benefits, there's drawbacks, there's fears, and there's the successes, there's wins and there's losses. Like it's a roller coaster ride, and your perception of it is what matters. And
Hmm.
going back to the question that initiated this conversation, I think when you ask yourself like, is entrepreneurship a good fit for me, that's you asking yourself a powerful question to get conscious of whether or not it is. The answer doesn't have to be yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like it
I
could be
mean, and
like
that's the same
no,
with
no.
relationships. People don't have to have a love relationship. People could date, people could
Totally.
stay
Or
single.
yeah, or they could configure it in a different way. Like maybe they don't
Yeah.
want to live together, or
Right.
maybe it's a traveling couple, or who knows? It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, what kind of relationship would fit me?
Exactly. That is a big question that I love to throw into the space a lot, because I think so many people are modeling relationships off of something they've seen, and then they're feeling like, oh my gosh, like that's
Yeah,
going to mean I have to sacrifice my space, or I'm going to have to give up time, in my business, or whatever the things that really are there. And really, in asking for a relationship, it's like, ask for what you truly desire and
yeah,
really be honest with that. Really be honest. It could mean that you never want to live with something. It could mean that you have
yeah.
multiple partners. It could mean that there's
Yeah,
infinite sort of.
right. And same with building a business, right? Like it could be,
Yes.
what if it's a side hustle or it's
Yeah.
funny we were talking about hustle, but it's like, what if it's a side business where you go, I want 20x. My husband has a side business where he does real estate. And he just does it very mellowly. It's a supplemental income, right? He
Yeah.
didn't want that to be his main business. So you could have a side business with supplemental income. You could have a full-time business like me and Macy, where we're going like all the way, and
Hmm.
we just want to see what we're made of. You could have one where you go, oh, $50,000 extra works for me. And what's the amount of time I need to put in for that? you might be on track for an 8-figure business. Whatever it is for you, you've got to decide what you want and reverse engineer it so that then you're taking steps toward what you actually want.
Yeah, I love it.
It's wild. I want to know, oh God, I could talk to you all day long, as you know. I want to know, what would you say has been a big, I mean, we've talked about the hustle and the slowing down and the willingness to feel your energy. So for those of you who are just watching now, Macy was talking about her 3-6-figure, get there faster to 6 figures. So trust your core inspiration, stop second guessing and thinking you're doing it wrong, and then follow your energy and inspiration. So stopping the hustle. What would you say has been a big money block that you've overcome in your business building adventures?
It seems like it evolves all the time. I mean, there is like a comfort with asking for money in a certain numbers, and that continued to stretch as I grew. And so being aware of, my own relationship with how I related to money and what I thought it was for me, and just being nicer to money. But I guess, before I go into that even more, I would say that honestly, the biggest thing with all of this, with how I relate to money and my business and what I chose, is I always have had support. And I'm not doing this just to promote coaching, but the truth is there's no way I would have a business if I didn't have the first coach I had, the second coach I had, and then the coaches I have now, because, and you now that have given me some of the basic structures and help me relate to money in a different way.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Oh God, right?
And so, it starts with like, there's just so much that I've learned. I can't even.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating that, of course, we're coaches, so we're going to say that, and we're biased, and yet we're not, because it's so interesting to have to be like, get a coach. When we look at the most successful people on the planet, whether it's in sports, business, anything, they have coaches, right? Like, I wouldn't be where I am without coaches either. I wouldn't have the marriage I have without a coach, without you. I wouldn't have. I've hired coaches all along the way, different types of coaches for different reasons. And I think here's the thing. You can get there without it, but it shrinks the timeline. So if you want to
I can't even imagine, honestly. I mean, right? I really can't, because when we're dealing with money and love, we're dealing with the programming from before age 7. There is no way I want to base my business on a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old girl. Like, no, like that is really what I had around money and relationships.
I love that. Okay. Do you want to base your decisions on your 6-year-old self? That is, it's such a powerful question. Oh my God. I love that. That's
because I can see so clearly how all of my relationships matched the self-esteem blueprint I had from childhood until I did the inner work. And I hired coaches before I even hired one for relationship stuff, because I didn't even think that doing something related to relationship was required. I figured you just do relationship. No, you have to learn these skills. And the same thing with money. You have a lot of money programming unconsciously from watching people early on.
Yeah.
Well, and it's used as a weapon so often. So
absolutely. And the thing is, you're not aware of it until you get some help. And it's like when I started doing money work and relationship work, it was the same. And I would go, everything I would write the story about to understand my unconscious programming, I would do the same thing with my relationships, because for me, both were flailing. It was like my relationships were falling apart and my money was falling apart. And I was like, oh crap, I got a lot to work on here. And so I would go, okay, what are my money beliefs? What are my relationship beliefs? And they were very resonant with each other, which all of them were, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm too this, that, or the other, ugly, fat, whatever the beliefs that I had were across my life course. I mean, like going back to 5th grade when I was 30 pounds overweight and, proving yourself and then the way that people treated you and brown skin. And I mean, this maps onto my relationship with money and my relationship with people. And it's
Oh
huge,
gosh. Yeah.
huge stuff.
I know. I mean, when you're saying that, I just remember, I grew up in a family where we had some money and I remember being judged for that. So it was like having money and then being judged for it and like not fitting in. So the not fitting in outsider thing was really painful.
Yeah.
And
oh my
in
gosh.
relationships, I never felt lovable.
I love what not that you felt that way. I love how I often make connections when you're talking like, oh my God, that's just like this. It's so powerful. We're like so resonant in our conversations. It's making me think of the term wealth shame, like people hiding the amount of wealth they have because they think people won't like them or think they're bad.
Yeah.
I've noticed this with some entrepreneurs, this entrepreneurial shame where they're like, they feel guilty making money doing what they love because their friends aren't doing the same. Like they're like, oh, you have to go to work every day and hate what you're doing. And I'm somehow over here doing what I enjoy doing. And so they hide and minimize their business or talk about it in a way where it's like, oh, it's really hard and I've got to work really hard instead of just owning the power and the joy of it and sharing it from that place.
Exactly. Well, and that's what people do with dating all the time. It's like automatic complaint, automatic drama, automatic, let me tell you the worst thing that ever happened to me. And, that's why, I'm actually starting a 14-day dating sort of empowered dating boot camp tomorrow. And that is going to be a big part of like just changing the paradigm completely because, how much fun can we have?
Love it. Okay. I know you and I could talk forever. Tell everyone where they can find you. I'm going to put up right now your love. Let's see. Let's change it bigger so everyone can see it well. Let us know where we can find you.
Yes. Well, you can go take the Love Vibe quiz, which I think is a really powerful self-assessment so that when you're answering the questions, you can see where you are. And you can also leverage, like we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, leverage what you're already doing, like give yourself some credit and then see where you can focus your attention to make things easier for you or get support. And the other thing is you can also go to getsuperloved.com, which is my website. And
we got both of those now. Awesome.
Yeah, getsuperloved.com. And if you're interested in our 14-day empowered daters reboot and self-care, it's really going to be changing, like I said, the paradigm for how you date, and so that you can be conscious and open to receiving something amazing.
Awesome. And they can go, if they go to getsuperloved.com, they'll find that there.
They should be able to find it there somewhere.
Awesome. And I, well, contact Macy and you'll be able to. She's on Facebook. Her group is amazing if you want.
Private message me is probably the easiest way to get.
Yeah. Okay. And to do that, they'd go Facebook and go to Get Superloved.
And Facebook to Macy Matarazzo. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Everyone else, I want to make sure and this will be live and then this will be evergreen. And at some point it'll be recorded, but I have a really fun masterclass coming up. So I'm going to show that here. So if you go to NFA Money Masterclass, it's for women only. And it's how to confidently make more money in your business. It's going to be workshop style. It's coming up this Wednesday. So if you want in, it's on 2/2/22, which I think is so cool that I chose that date and then was like, oh, that's lucky numbers.
Yes.
So it's going to be an hour and a half workshop and you're going to get tons of time with me. I'm not even doing slides. It's going to be like interactive, asking questions, helping you break through money blocks. And so if you go to NFA Money Masterclass, you can register there. So that's something coming up from mine. And then of course, always know you can take this money blocks quiz. So this will lead you to understanding in 2 minutes or less what the top money blocks are that are keeping you stuck. And I start all my people here. This will give you tons of insight and exercises to help you start breaking through your money blocks. So, okay. I love you, and you know that, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Thanks so much for coming on.
I love you too. Thank you.
Value. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll be back again next week for another NFA Money Talk. And until then, NFA Money Making High Five.